Do you want to know why you aren't selling on KDP? Well, this is something that is absolutely 100% in your control. At least this one item is 100% in your control. So if you'd like to know what that is, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Watch the rest of this video and we'll get into it. Okay, so KDP is Kindle Direct Publishing, and you publish books on Amazon. And I know a lot of you love to do this, but you're frustrated because you're just not selling. You're not sure why you're not selling. And so I actually had a chance to look through a viewer's profile, and it gave me the idea for this particular show and segment, because I wanted you guys to see kind of some of the things I see initially. One of the things that you guys really probably think you're good at, but maybe you're not, or you just need more practice, is covers. So a lot of the times the reason you're not selling is because of your cover. I would probably say two things are the number one reasons. One are you're probably not niching down either enough or not in the right way. And the second is covers. Covers is huge. And so the cover is completely in your control. Your niche is under your control too, but your cover is something I think we don't think enough about. So what I wanted to do today is go through, I just typed in activity books, Halloween activity books, because that would be really popular right now. And I wanted to go through and talk about covers and cover elements and kind of give my knowledge and thoughts and advice to you, because I think especially when you're new and starting out, and even sometimes if you're a graphic designer, you're not thinking in the same way the customer is thinking, or who's purchasing this, and how people purchase. Amazon is a very visual platform, right? It's a search engine / visual. Kind of think of it as two different things. When you go into a store, how do bookstores sell products? They definitely have the stores lined up and that sort of thing, but they also have displays. There's books set out on a table. There are books highlighted, right? They're pulled out of the shelves. You don't just see the spine, you see the cover, okay? Because people, guess what? Even though you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, people do, because it catches their eye. The cover is the number one thing that will catch their eye. So we're going to talk about some basic elements, okay? A few things to note. We're going to go through, I'm going to show you elements, but a few things to note is you really don't want more than two fonts on a cover. More than that, and you can, maybe if you're a graphic designer and you really know the rules, you can break the rules, because if you understand the rules, you can break them, right? Because you can break them in a way that's art and creative. But for most of us, stick with 1 to 2 fonts on the cover. The second thing is big and bold. You don't want scripty is pretty, and it's definitely more feminine, but it shouldn't be so scripty that someone can't read it as a thumbnail. So on this YouTube channel, if you can't read some of these fonts, it's either too scripty, too small, that sort of thing. You don't want it so big that, it overpowers the cover. So there is some of that design element. So we're going to kind of talk about some of these things, and the font should fit the element. Okay, so what I love about this cover is that it's colorful. It's got kind of the bold colors. Since this is children, right, we've got to think about our audience. It's got bold colors. So Halloween, party, under the sea, and it's got, bold colors, fun characters. I can read Halloween really easily. I can read party. Maybe under the is not as good, but I can read sea. So I kind of see what's going on from this cover from really far away. That's really important. The fonts are easy to read. The colors are appropriate, and capture the eye and capture the audience attention. Let's see. What do I like about this one? So this Halloween scissors and paste. You can see that these are doing really well. I've kind of picked ones that are doing well so we can talk about them. They've got fun characters. It's big colors. You can read these things, okay? That helps. Let me go through some of these other ones. Now, the I Spy ones, okay, so see, there's kind of this between being too busy and busy. Now, I Spy The cover can be a little bit more busy because the book is that way. The book is meant to have lots of little things on it and people pick things out of those things. So that is kind of expected for a cover. So you would want it to be a little bit more busy than your average cover. Whereas like, see this one, it's got elements, but they kind of blend into a color scheme with one central element being the moon, which captures your attention, right? It draws your eye to the cover and to that Halloween activity book, and then the 4 kids. So they've done a really good job with this. I've actually seen these elements before, but I think they've arranged them really well that it draws your eye into that without being too busy. This one, it's selling well, but honestly, I think it's a bit busy. It's got a lot going on there, but you can read it. Halloween activity book for kids ages 8 to 12, right? These I Spies are good, and they are busy, but that's okay because, like I said, for that type of book, that is an okay type thing. I really like, so these aren't, these are something totally different, but I want you to take note of how eye-catching these colors are. They've used one big, fun, cute graphic and, some basic coloring book, right? It's not too exciting. It's got a font that appeals to a child, yet still easy to read. It's kind of a handwritten font, but it's just got one big character that draws your eye to it. But then it's got kind of textured backgrounds, things like that. So it's not completely plain. This one, you can't really see it, but it's got like swirls of different colors of purple and then little dots and things that kind of give it some texture and color and swirl, and it draws your eye to it. Let's see what else. This one's really cute. This Happy is really tiny. Halloween activity book. And really, Happy is okay being smaller because what you want the person to get out of it is a Halloween activity book. So the fact that Happy is smaller, and they've used a little witch hat for an A, which is clever and cute, but you're not going to be able to see that in a thumbnail. But that's okay because Halloween activity book for kids is easy enough to read. And actually just Halloween activity book is easy to read. The 4 kids, though it's a little smaller and harder to read, this ages, I can't even read it, 4 to 8, I think it says. That's hard to read, but by looking at the graphics, I know what type of book this is. It looks a little more small, like it looks for smaller kids. So that makes sense and it works with that. Color, elements, fonts. Let's see. I liked this one quite a lot because I like that it has one big central element and it looks fun. When you're doing books, you want them to capture the essence and the feeling that you want somebody to get out of this book. So I actually make covers for people, and one of them, she's doing a book on divorce. And so I was trying to say, well, what do you want someone to come out of this book being happier after, or, sad after, or is it, compassionate? What type of feeling do you want from this book? And we discussed that feeling so that I could find an appropriate picture and graphic to convey that to the audience before they even, read the title. And that's what you're trying to do with any of your books. You want, when you look at your book, say, what feeling does it give me? Not just how does it look? There's definitely aesthetics and fonts and font sizes and all that, but what do you feel when you see it? I think a lot of this comes by just actually looking through books. Keep looking. Like, I love to scroll down and say, okay, what do I like? What do I not like? This one right here, I hate that purple and the orange together. Purple and orange are awesome Halloween colors, but this purple and this orange, not so much, right? It makes it look drab and dreary. And so I don't like that purple and the orange. The orange might be okay if the purple was different, but the purple gives me this feeling of, that looks like a depressing book. It doesn't look, it's a Halloween activity book. It should be fun. Now, maybe if it was spooky, maybe I could roll with that, but I'm not feeling it here, right? I know it's picky, but this is how people think, and they think it unconsciously. Randomly, like Spearmint was trying to get people to like their brand more. And what they found is that gum is actually purchased on a whim. People have a feeling and pick it out. And so what they actually did with their advertising is they tried to subconsciously subject happy feelings into people's worlds when they about spearmint gum. And so what they found is it actually worked. They didn't even talk about the gum in their commercials. They actually just told this cute love story about this man and this woman, and it worked because it was about projecting that feeling of happiness towards a gum brand. And then people, when they subconsciously, reached to pick out a gum, they felt happy, warm feelings about spearmint gum. And I know it's silly, but human psychology is what it is. And so you've got to understand that when creating your cover, emotion is super important. Look and all that is important, but emotion and what you feel and what you gain out of it really is important to people. And they pick kind of subconsciously. I love this cut and paste Halloween one. It's definitely got the Halloween colors, the nice purple, a nice orange, but it has this cute kid color that makes it stand out from its counterparts. Now look at these three across from each other. This looks a little cluttered in comparison, right? This is pretty darn cute because it's just got one big element, a ghost. It's kind of cute. This is well done because it's done with a lot of color. You can see that it's cut and paste. I get the feeling that this would be a fun book for kids and cut and paste. This one with this color brings out, it just stands out. And it says, the bright colors to me say little kid. And it gives me the feeling that they understand what little kids would like. Now, I don't know, I haven't looked inside yet, but that's kind of the feelings I get looking at these. This one just does, it's cute, but it doesn't look as fun and as inviting to me. Let's see. What else do we got? See, I'm just really not feeling this purple. That purple is not a good color, I don't think, for Halloween. What's this one? So this is really cute, but there's something about the background that needs to be changed in color consistency for it to stand out. Like, look at these three across the board. Which one stands out for you? This one stands out the most. This one's actually selling better, but you never know. People could be doing a lot of advertising. Well, and this one's also $3.99. That's probably one of the reasons it's selling quite a bit. But it doesn't, other than that, it doesn't really, I don't know, there's something about the background that doesn't stand out for me. I would have fiddled with the background more. Let's see. Halloween crossword puzzles. That's actually pretty clever. They've got the crossword puzzle. I know what it is. It's got little characters. Oh, this one's a cute little cat in front, right? It says something about, well, and it's doing really well too. But it's well, the colors, like you've got the bright color, the black cat, and then the bright pumpkin. It like draws your eye, and then the rest of it's dark except for Halloween. So it stands out. It's cute, it's clever, it's well done, and it's fairly simple. Let's see, what else do I like? Or what don't I like, right? This one right here, Halloween Buddies activity book. I don't know. It seems almost too childish to me. I mean, it's doing okay, but they cut off this pumpkin here. They cut off the witch's hand. I probably would have, I don't know. The activity book, it doesn't stand out as much as it should, though they did use color. I don't know. There's something about it that doesn't, stand out for me. Cute, but it's so bright. Like the color almost is painful, but it's really cute. Let's see, what else do I got? Okay, here's one that stands out. Now, this is something, it's published by an actual publisher, but paint by sticker. Look how it stands out across, right? It really pops, and that's what you want. You want yours to be similar to other people, but you want when people look across or, scrolling down, that you stop at it. A lot of times, I have good success and bad success with this. I'm not going to say all my covers are amazing, but sometimes I'm like, wow, that turned out really good. And sometimes I look at it and go, what can I fix? And sometimes I can't come up with the answer of what I would fix. That's just the nature of, I guess, time. Let's see. One of the good ways to do this is look at stuff that is selling well. Don't copy it, but look at what I like to call treatments. What did they do that worked well? Sometimes that's color, sometimes that's composition. Like, okay, so like this one, this is really simple. When you think about this cover, it's really simple. It's got the laughing pumpkin, which conveys that sense of fun, a sense of excitement, just things that would capture a child's attention. Okay, I Spy Halloween in Mazes. The Halloween is kind of fun. It's bright. It's easy to read. And then it's got these little spiders hanging off with this background texture of a spider web. So it's actually a fairly simple design, but it's well executed. It stands out across these three, right? This looks kind of busy in comparison. This is highlights. So they're fun, they're cute. The Puzzle Mania really stands out, and people know the Highlights brand. So that's going to stand out because of the brand name itself. But when I look across all of these, this is the one my eye would be drawn to. So to do this, you just have to keep creating stuff. Or what I found worked best for me is, honestly, I sit down for the first year or so, I sat down and I would scroll pages and I would literally go through and say, what catches my eye? And I would stop and I'd say, okay, why is this catching my eye? Is it the color? Is it the composition? Is it the font? Is it the way it's put together? What about it is drawing my eye, right? That's kind of how I learned about, how to create things that really stand out. Also, that adding that feeling emotion into it is like the next step up. Like, is it fun? What feelings does this give me? All right. So any questions? Oh, I got a few questions. I wasn't paying attention. Hi, are your books actually selling? Oh, that was one of the things I wanted to talk about today too. I wanted to tell you what books are selling right now. As far as for me, mine have been gifts for teenagers. So I don't know why, but gifts for teenagers have been selling for me as of lately. Those are my highest selling items this month. And so I thought, you might say, what is a gift for a teenager? Well, these are actually notebooks, so it's blank notebooks, but it was things that I thought would appeal to teenagers and things that they're interested in. And in particular, this was sports. So it was like teenagers for gifts, sports gifts type thing. Because I thought, well, a coach or a parent or something might want to buy a lot of books for, their entire team or something like that. So I priced them fairly low and kind of was going for bulk buying. And it actually is working right now. So you've got to find your niche that works. You've got to find the design that works. My designs are selling pretty well, which is one of the reasons I thought about going through and showing you kind of how I learned the art of design. I am not a designer by nature, but you can definitely look and see what you like and ask yourself why you like it. And I noticed, I went through and kind of researched my books and saw the competition, and I could kind of see why my books were selling and other people's weren't. And it really had to do with cover design. This is a journal. So as a gift, it's really, it just needs to catch their eye and be something they would like. So that's what I created. And my design, was eye-catching. And it fit the teen genre. It was kind of grungy looking, but not too grungy. And it just kind of, fit what people were looking for. So that's what's been selling for me. Now, as we go into November, I've got, a lot of my planners and annual things up. I actually finished getting everything up. And so that's going to start selling for me. I've seen like onesie, twosie sales so far, but that's actually expected in October. I'm not really expecting, January. People are early buyers, but not too many people are that early buyers of buying stuff that they're not going to use till January, or they're going to give as a gift for Christmas that people would use, in January and beyond. So they're starting to sell though, but I'm not seeing a ton of sales. I actually had one that I put up and the next day I sold two. So planners are starting to sell. They're not going to be selling in bunches in October, but hit end of October, beginning of November, and it will pick up. Actually, I usually feel the pickup around November 12th-ish, because I think people are feeling like, oh no, it's getting to Thanksgiving in the US. It's getting towards Thanksgiving. I'm going to be behind if I don't start getting my Christmas gift. So that's where I see the pickup around November 12th. Hi, Rasheen. How are you? Or Rashid, sorry. Anyone else have questions or thoughts? That's kind of what I had today. I really wanted to go through, just show you cover is a huge thing, and it's often why you are not selling. There's definitely niche. Niche is the other thing, and we can talk about that. I'll actually do another video about that because I think that's a great one that everyone always wants to know about niche. How do you niche down? What is a niche? That sort of thing. But often I see people getting the right niche and not the right cover. So it was interesting. I was researching another book line that I'm kind of interested in. And they have there's some great ideas, but then I could see how the great ideas, their books were selling. And then the ideas that they've the covers and the ideas they've kind of missed the mark on, they aren't selling. And I could totally see why, because sometimes the idea sounds better in your head than when it gets out there. And so I was like, oh, well, I could do, this and this and this, and it would be completely different from what they're doing. But it's kind of, taking that idea and making it something completely different that I think would hit the mark. All right. Is it too late to publish Thanksgiving books? No, it's not completely too late, but it's getting there. You have people probably start buying Thanksgiving books maybe very end of October. Then after that, not so much. So if you want to publish a Thanksgiving book, my suggestion is put up it as soon as possible, get it up there, and start an advertising campaign for it. Because if you don't start an advertising campaign, it's not going to get out in front of viewers. Now, I wouldn't spend a ton of money, but I might. Normally, I'm a conservative bidder, like 10 cents, and I very much focus down on things. But if I wanted to get something started, I might bid 20 cents and do an automatic ad, or do a manual ad for specific Thanksgiving type terms, and see if I could get a few sales. Because if you can get it out there with a few sales, even if you spend, I wouldn't spend like $10. Maybe I'd spend $10. It kind of depends on how your ACOS goes. Are you making money or are you not making money? But I don't think I'd waste more than maybe $10. That would be kind of my cutoff to see if I could get a few sales. And then once I get a few sales, I might dial back the cost, unless I'm selling a lot, right? If I'm selling really well, I'd keep it at 20 cents. If I'm making money, I'm happy to keep the ad going. But if the ad isn't at least breaking even or close to it, and I'm losing a lot of money, then I would probably turn it off and see if those few sales would actually produce a few organic sales, because they do. If you get a few sales, even by advertising, Amazon is likely to show it to people for those keywords because they know it's sold in the past. So it's worth a try. But that's what I would do if I was doing Thanksgiving books. Do you use different cover sizes? My most common cover sizes are probably just, 4, I suppose. I do 8x8s. Those are really fun and different. That if you're looking to stand out in a niche, sometimes doing that 8.5x8.5, that square book, can make you stand out, right? Your goal visually is to stand out so that someone clicks on it and hopefully purchases it. So an 8x8 is one size I will use if I want to stand out, if it'll work for the book. I was actually thinking of doing some fun kid books in an 8x8 size. Normally kids books, I do 8.5x11 or 8x10. So those are my most common sizes. And then journals, I do 6x9, often for journals. But I was thinking about doing some 8.5x8.5 kid books, not picture. So if you're doing children's actually books, like with a story, 8.5x8.5 is a pretty good size. But I was going to do an actual 8.5x8.5 coloring book for kids, because I saw that there wasn't anything out there that was kind of take along for kids, something that they could just throw in a small bag. The 8.5 and 11 are good for kids, but sometimes it's awkward to throw in your purse for a kid or something like that. So I thought maybe adding that smaller size might be something parents would like, because I did see a review that said, hey, I love this book, but it would be great if I could get a smaller size so I could throw it in my purse and just have it for my child with some crayons. And I thought, what a great idea. So, right, there's ways to stand out in the market that maybe you aren't looking at. What is a perfect size for Thanksgiving? It depends what you want to do. Log books, 6x9, right? Coloring books, 8x10, 8.5x11. Are you going to do a kid's coloring book? Just like I said, an 8.5x8.5 square one might be something kind of fun and different. So it depends what the purpose of the book is. I generally choose the size of the book based upon the audience and purpose of the book. So yeah. Is it, large print for seniors? Then it's probably going to be 8.5 by 11 because they want the larger print pages, right? And that needs to be on larger paper. Does that help? Now, if you're doing a kid's children's book about Thanksgiving, I'd probably do 8.5 by 8.5. So like an actual children's books with pictures and story and that sort of thing, which would be fun. That I was talking to somebody who has been doing really well with children's books, just younger. So I would say the 3 to 5-year-old range, probably closer to 5, but 3, and it's very simple stories that parents would read to kids. And they've been doing really well with children's books focused on holidays. So, that's a thought too. So I've yet to do those, though I want to. There's just so many fun things to do. Any other questions? Anyone else have anything? Good to hear you're starting to see planner sales. Oh, thank you, Donna. Yeah, I was so shocked that my planners are starting to sell. I mean, I always get a few in October, but I was surprised that I published it and like the next day I had 2 sales. So it does happen. Don't be discouraged. And it took me a while to get where I've gotten and understanding my audience to publish something that I know my audience will like. And that didn't happen overnight. And a lot of it was me learning interiors, yes, but covers, because covers will sell. Okay. So learning how to niche down to the right niche, understanding that audience, and then making a cover that speaks to them, that has emotion, that draws their eye. It's something that you just have to spend time on to be able to learn. And if you're a graphic designer, you've spent time on it. You went to school for it. So, you've got that. All right. Any other questions? If not, I'm going to go because that's all I had to say today. I'm sorry. My my office is in construction. You can't see it, but my husband's pulling wires through my ceiling and it's been absolute craziness around here. So, yeah, but that's all I have for today. So any other questions? You're just starting in KDP. Good. If this is for you, if this is the right business for you, it is so fun, but pay attention to all the rules. Just because it's selling doesn't mean it's the right thing. If it's, a lot of people lately have had their accounts terminated because of trying to be like I want to say clickbaity, too clickbaity in their titles or using trademarks or things like that. So avoid all that, learn how to do it right, learn how to create a good cover, learn how to talk to your audience, and then you're going to be fine. So that's kind of my advice for newbies. And yeah, look at what's selling and ask yourself, why does it catch your eye? Or why do you think it's selling? Sometimes there's no answer and you're not going to get an actual answer, but asking the questions of why, it helps. It helps you understand what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong. Okay, what are you doing to get sales? What am I doing to get sales? I know my niche, I know what they like, and I make it. And this isn't something that came to me overnight. And I'm trying to impart upon you how to do that with understanding your niche, understand your audience, understand what they like, understand what graphic elements draws them in, and then creating that and getting it out there. And then of course there's all the technical stuff of keywords and all that, and you can run ads. But it just focusing on your audience and understanding them and what they want is probably the most important thing, yet kind of the most hard, elusive thing to do. But it is the most important thing. Do you know any websites to create word search and puzzle books? Yes. I have one in my show description of a word search that I really like. So it's in there. It's not free. There are some free ones, but most of the free ones, they're not for commercial use. So there are a few out there, but they have maybe restrictions, like you can only make 10 pages or that sort of thing. So just if you find a free one, just make sure you read whatever the rules are for. I do have one that's paid in my show description, so you can check that out. I think there's a discount coupon on there too. So let's see. My books are selling, but I see that I can improve covers. Am I risking BSR if I make major changes updating the cover? No. No, you're really not. If it's a better cover, no, right? Because if it's better and it's more eye-catching, then you're going to, it'll capture more attention. Now, here's a few things. One, there's two risky things. If you're already selling, it does take some time for KDP to change out the cover. And then it takes time for them to get the cover updates to the printer. So I have seen it where the cover comes out, it updates on the website after a few days. That's good. But then when the customer purchases it, it's a completely different cover when they get it home than what's on the website, because there is some delay time between when there's some delay time. So that will probably only be 1 or 2 sales, unless yours is selling a lot. Now, if yours is selling a lot, leave it alone, just create something new and make a better cover. But if you're selling like maybe once a month, I would probably take that risk. So think about that. Know that that is a possible problem. You might get a review saying, hey, the cover isn't what I asked for, because that happens. But it might be a risk worth having if you think it's going to get you more sales. Does that make sense? Rashid, you're welcome. Anyone else have any other questions? All right, I think that's about it. So thank you so much for being here. I will be live again next week. So if you have any questions, save it till then, and I will see you all next week. Bye.